Hey, what's up guys, Mark Brunet here, and I am back today with another video tutorial. But before, you've noticed the change in the intro, so this is just to match sort of the channel art update that I did recently. I try to keep the same sound so it feels a little bit familiar, but yeah, so for now I'm going to keep that, so I might change it a little bit later, but we'll see about that. But enough of this. Today we're going to be talking about values. I am going to be playing a painting that I did. So the first part of the painting, which is the grayscale only of this painting, and this is actually perfect to talk about values because this is what values are all about, grayscale. So for those of you who don't know, values are when I say when people talk about values, they talk about sort of just the grayscale of things. So it goes from complete black to pure white, anything in between. This is the range of values that exists. So I'm gonna try to explain why you might want to start painting this way, and also why it's sometimes not as good of an idea, or maybe the people that say that they don't like starting with black and white, such as me. Why is that, and what's the reason behind this? But yeah, first of all, let's go with the pros. So values, starting with values is actually very good when you start to do digital art, or whenever you start to do art, period. What is good about it is that it sort of divides, it splits the whole illustration process into different steps. So if you split the values and the colors, it actually makes things a lot more simpler to understand, because values, all you have to worry about is there's no colors. It's only where the light hits, and where how the shadows behave, and that's all you have to worry about. So it's very, very at least it's a lot easier to sort of manage this kind of stuff when you're learning it, just because there's not much to pay attention to. So if I were to do the colors at the same time, then you have to worry about the different how the different colors react to different type of values, and sometimes one particular value will not react the same, or one particular color will not react the same as another one, even though they have the same value. So there's a lot of weird things going on when it comes to adding colors to value. So that's why I suggest that if you're start with value painting, because it's just a lot simpler. And what it does also is that it helps reinforce a good, it helps you focus on your composition a lot more. Values is a big key in having a good composition. So if you have poor values in your painting, no color is going to save it. You can have the best coloring skills ever. If your value is all messed up, the painting is going to look like crap, and that's just how it is. So this is it's in a way the first step to any good painting. So I mean, you can see why it's a good idea to sometimes start with it. What I'm doing, for example, in here, I am going to have a background and a foreground, and this is a good idea. This is a good example of how you use value to emphasize your composition. So in this case, I'm going to have a high contrast character. So my character in the foreground is going to be high contrast. So it's going to my grayscale basically is going to go all the way to the deep blacks and all the way to the pure whites. And my background on the opposite side, on the other hand, is going to be limited in sort of the grayscale that it's using. So I'm not going to go full black, and I'm not going to go full white. So it's going to be a little bit more desaturated as opposed to the foreground. And what this does is that it helps sort of separate the planes of your illustration, and sort of helps to push back your background more easily. At least it feels like the background is further than actual character, and that's, I guess, here that's the idea, right? So if you have the opposite, for example, if you had a very desaturated character and very contrasting background, and very not contrasted foreground, it would seem very strange. It would feel as if the background is really close, and the character itself is kind of not far, but it's just like behind like a cloud of dirt. Anyways, normally it doesn't work. So the idea is that everything that is closer gets more contrast, and everything that is further back in the image gets less and less contrast the further back it is. Yes, I'm going to give a couple examples of that a little bit later, but that's it for the pros. I mean, there's obviously a lot of good about starting with this, but what's not good, and what I try to avoid, is that whenever you apply color after that, most of the time you have to redo a lot of the painting, because like I said earlier, whenever you have a particular value, that value assigned to different colors is not going to react the same way. So what I'm saying is that the different colors having the same value will not have the same effect on the eye, and it will some of them will seem a lot more intense, and some others will seem a lot more sort of muted, even though they have the same value. So different colors react differently to values. So it's important to understand that, and not expect that everything is going to be perfect once you colorize your illustration. Alright guys, let's go back to real time, and then let's look at two examples. So one that is right and one that is wrong. So this one is the correct one. So I have sort of a muted background, and then your eye is automatically attracted to the character because the character is higher contrast as opposed to the background. If you have the opposite, something like this, then something strange happens. If you're like me, and if you're like most people, your eye will be attracted to the background more. You'll try to look almost as if you want to push a character off of the screen, like go away, I can't, so that I can see the actual background. It just doesn't fit, and it's just like your eyes just trying to avoid the character, look at the stuff that's higher contrast in the background, that's more attracting for your eyes. So definitely try to play with that whenever you do your composition. Contrasts and values high is a very, very good tool to direct a focal point. And lastly, so the last part of this video, I want to do a little exercise here. I have 4 rows of the same the same values for all the 4 different squares that are going to be 4 different colors. And so let's apply colors to this. I'm going to go with the very the classic super saturated color. So if you go with color mode here, you'll see what happens. So not all of them behave the same way. So let's do blue, and then let's do green, and yellow for the last one. So color mode. So if you look at the rows now, when it was grayscale only, it looked like the same values, but now suddenly the same values have different effects for the color. So if you look at the different rows that we have here, different squares gonna attract the eye more. So for example, in this one seems to be the more the dominant sort of square in these 4, while in here it's this one, and then the third row is probably this one. My eye is more attracted to this, and then the same deal for the yellow. So normally they should all be the same, they should all attract the eye the same because their value is the same, but since the color is not the same, it changes things up. So whenever you do if, let's say you start with values only when you begin a painting, and when you color you have to take that into consideration. So it can get annoying to try to fix this kind of stuff. And then something else also, if you go here and you take these for example, as you can see, the value is not even the same, even though it changed all of a sudden. So the red here is all the top here, so that's the right value, even though it's not. But and this one is the same value, but then this one, for example, it goes all the way down here, so it turns to like a gray, while these ones, the value suddenly is a white, complete white, and it wasn't, right? It was like a second darkest color, the second darkest value in all these squares. So and this one is suddenly very dark. So yeah, there's like weird stuff going on. So the value is all over the place in these, and it makes no sense. So one way to fix that, I guess, when you color your values, is to use a different blend mode, so I was using color. If you use overlay, you're gonna maintain the same value for your squares, but you'll see there's something else happens that is not desirable again. So we'll use the same colors. So red, blue, green, and yellow. Why am I using my mouse for this? I don't know, but now you look at this, and you know, when we had only grayscale like this, none of these colors attracted the eye more than the other one. It's just values. It's grayscale. But now suddenly, this row right here, God damn it, this row right here is clearly more saturated than the other ones, and even though they're using the same, you know, the saturation wasn't a part of this whole deal, right? It was just values, and now you have to think of saturation. So these are the ones that attract the eye the most, and those correspond to this type of gray, which doesn't seem like it would, but that's what it does. So anyways, there's no, I don't know if there's any rule to this that is you know, easily memorizable, but that's why I tried to avoid starting in grayscale, because otherwise you have to, whenever you apply your colors, you have to adjust a lot of the colors, a lot of the intensity of the colors, because let's say you had you know, your values were perfect, your focal point is right there. Suddenly you add red in the background, and then you add yellow to where your focal point was, and suddenly your eye is not attracted to your initial focal point when it was only values. Suddenly it's attracted to the bright red in the background, even though the value is correct. The color makes it sort of messes it all up. So yeah, this is something that you'll have to you know, to experience yourself. But what I'm trying to avoid when I start with colors right away is that I try to avoid the two steps balancing of my composition. So if your composition is perfect once you're done with your values, you can be pretty sure that it's not going to be after you're done applying your colors. You'll have to rebalance it again, as opposed to if you just do colors right away. It's a little bit more challenging, because you have to understand that, you know, you have to think of your values and your colors at the same time, but then you don't have to do this rebalancing at the end. It should be right the first time. So but yeah, that's all I wanted to say on that topic. So I hope you like the painting. In the next video, I'm going to be coloring this and taking it to, you know, the final stages. And yeah, I hope you guys like the video. I hope this was useful a little bit. And don't forget to tell your friends, tell your grandma, tell your dog, your cat, and your squirrels. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.